Okay, hey guys. Somebody was asking about doing the subtraction. We did have a wonderful person on there do the mommy to be file, which was really awesome. I'm going to show you real quick how I do it. Everybody does do these things differently. Kylan may do it differently than I do. You may figure out a way that's better for you. I've been doing this about 5 years now, so I've just figured out what works for me. So I'm going to show you real quick how you do a subtract function. There are two ways you can do it. You can put like a buffer space around the letters, or you can simply just do it and have the letters as what they call a knockout method, is what we're going to try and do today. I'm going to show you both ways. So the first thing you're going to do is find your font and whatever design or heart or triangle, whatever you're going to use, and do it that way. Today I'm just going to do a heart with the word love. So I've typed in my font, and by the way, this is the Magnolia Sky font. I want to show you real quick about welding. Anytime you use fonts that are cursive or fancy fonts like this, you're going to need to weld them. If you don't weld them, you're going to have a lot of extra cuts. So let me show you that real quick. Typically what I'll do to see if I need to weld is I change my line color. So I go over here to where it says open line window. And you notice if you hover over any of the icons, it makes you feel super smart because it tells you what it is. That's how I learned. Click on the lines. I'm going to change the lines of the word love to white. So when I zoom in, these are the extra cut lines. So if you were cutting vinyl or HTV, it would cut all of this out. And it's just a pain in the butt. And then people would talk about you and say you didn't know how to weld, because it's happened to me because I didn't know how. So you simply highlight it, which means you have the box around it. I call this like my McDonald's. Looks like the McDonald's sign that you see everywhere. The modify window. Click on it once and you click on weld. You can also right click to weld it. I go to the modify button. You do whichever way works for you. This one, typically if you have a longer word, it'll pop up and you need to group it. This one is so small that we don't. If it ever shows up and you have individual boxes around these letters, make sure you group it, because if you don't, you'll get them out of order. Okay, so second step, we're going to make sure you always make a copy of what you're getting ready to subtract, because it's exactly what it means. We're subtracting something out of this heart. So you highlight it all. You can hit Control and the letter D, or you can right click and hit duplicate. That's the easiest way that I found. Move these two out of the way, because we're going to need those here in a little bit. All right, so the word love I want to subtract out. This is the one without basically the buffer around it. If you'd seen the mommy to be file, that has the buffer around it. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So you're going to highlight the whole entire file that you have. Make sure you're in your modify window, your McDonald's window, and you're going to hit subtract. It's going to take the letters and take them out of the heart. See all these individual little squares here? That means you need to group this back together, because if you don't, this is what's going to happen. You're going to go to move it and this is going to happen, and you're not going to be happy. Thank God for the undo button. Go back, select everything. Now remember, this is a group button over here in the right-hand corner, or I'm sorry, left-hand corner. You can right-click and group, or you can hit Control-G. It all does the same thing. Everybody will find a way that works the best for them. That's real quick the subtract button without basically the buffer space around it. Okay, so we want to do a buffer. Let's bring this design over here. Take our word love. Remember, we want to weld it because it's a fancy font. So modify window. That's already been welded because I did that before I actually copied and pasted it. All right. So do the buffer around it. You're going to do something that's called the offset window. This kind of looks like a little house to me. You hover over it, offset window. Click on it. Offset means it's going to go outside the letters. So which means it's going to go on the outside. Okay, it'll do any of the open areas. Internal offset means it goes in here. Okay, offset. And then this will control, it says distance, but it controls the size of it. Now mine you can't see because I need to change my line color back. See how that works? Okay, so my offset is too big. So do this. I'm going to start again. Get rid of that one. That's a junky one. So I'm going to click on this. Make sure my lines are black, or you won't see them because they'll be invisible. They'll be white. We're going to go to our offset window. It looks like the little house. External offset. See how it goes around the outside of the font? That's what you want. The distance just means you can make it bigger or you can make it smaller. A lot of times you'll use this function if you come across a font that's too skinny. You can go in here and do the offset, and that tends to make it a little bit thicker when you cut it. Okay, let's just get it a little bit how I want it. You can also use these down arrows like so. It just takes a little while longer. Or you can use the slider. And then I'm going to click apply. Okay, now this is where it gets tricky. We're going to take the offset, which is this part here, put it into the word love, and we're going to subtract the offset. So highlight it all. Where do we go? Modify, subtract. Now remember, group it, group it, group it. Now when I put my word love back inside, see, now I have like some padding around it. See the difference in the two? So let's change this so we can see our lines a little better. So this one has the offset, which gives you the padding. This one does not. So I hope you liked it. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, you can always give me a holler. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.